You seem a bit ill or beneath the weather. I don't know if you've been treated by anyone else or if you received any other tips from someone else, but I do have a couple of tips and tricks that I think might work on you, perhaps. I mean, it's something that I do habitually when I start getting, beneath the weather and I start getting sick with, the common cold. So I think that these tips could benefit you if you are willing to try them out. They're nothing extreme or out of this world, basically. They're very much natural home remedies. There's nothing bad, majorly bad, that's gonna happen to you if you end up trying them out. It's not like you're gonna end up in the hospital or anything like that. Like, there's nothing chemical about it. There's just, technically it's something chemical, but everything's kind of technically chemical when it comes to ingesting substances into your body, because everything has everything's a chemical reaction. But this isn't anything to the extreme like medicine, like official prescription medicine or anything like that. This is much more of a nice combination of natural substances that could really help you out, especially if you're in the beginning days of your cold. Like, it could shave down the symptoms and it could shave down the amount of time that you're sick for. You want to give them a try? Cool. Well, in that case, I'm going to start off with the first tip, which is, of course, keep warm. So I do have a blanket and a rag over there. Keep warm. So wear fuzzy pajama pants if you have them, or 2 layers of pants, like long pants, not like shorts. Long sleeve shirts, which are also fuzzy if you have them, and a sweater on top of that, like a thick wool sweater or a thick, sweater in general, hoodie. And if you aren't going to be doing anything soon, which I imagine you wouldn't be considering how you're sick, put the hoodie over you, tie it up, and keep it really tight around your head, so that way all the heat escaping kind of maintains within you, so that way you start sweating out the virus that you have and you start removing the toxins that way. Now I have here a rag for your forehead, so that way it's a warm wool rag. It accumulates the sweat, but you could heat this up by dipping it into some warm water, and when you dip it into some warm water, it should also heat up your forehead that way. But for right now, it'll be working more as a sweat rag for you. So I'll just poorly fold this. Let's see, I want it to be as even as possible. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to be putting this over your forehead and then trying to maintain it up there. I don't want it to start loosening up and stuff like that. There we go. Okay, so just try to maintain that up there. If it starts kind of moving around, then just try to slip it beneath the hoodie, tighten the hoodie, slip it beneath it, so that way the hoodie kind of maintains it up there. Now the other thing that I have here is this nice, warm, thick purple blanket. I love purple. This should be quite suitable for your needs. Now, let me just fold this up because it is quite long. And this is that it's folded already, so let me just try to fold this again so that way it's not too long on you. So there we go. Actually, here, I can just fold this around you, so that way you're like a burrito within this purple blanket of mine. See? There we go. Now that you have your rag and your blanket all situated, the first thing I'm going to be asking you to ingest is a cup of tea. There we go. this is some hot water, as you can see from the condensation accumulating on the sides, or rather within. Let me just move the little bulb somewhere where it won't start rolling around and making a ruckus. I'm just going to be pouring this hot water into the tea mug. Put the tea mug down. And then cap this hot glass bottle. And then with this tea mug, I'm going to be adding a couple of ingredients. One of which will be a popular thing I'm going to be using today, is the honey product. Now with this honey, I'm just going to be filling the bottom of it. There we go. And then, as you can see, there is honey all over the bottom of the tea. There we go. And it'll start drifting up the honey. Honey, 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 honey. And now what we have here is lemon juice. Lemon juice will help your cold. How? Antibacterial properties. Same thing with the honey. And if you have some ginger and some turmeric, that will also help in aiding your cold, because they all have antibacterial properties, which will help aid the germs that you have accumulating in your system. There is only a little bit of lemon juice in this container. I, being the sacrificial, selfless person I am, will give you, a percentage of the lemon juice left. I'm not going to be using it all. Just enough to kind of carry out the point within your tea that there is lemon juice in the tea. So, I'm just going to be pouring in a bit here. There we go. And now I'm just going to be stirring around the lemon honey tea concoction. There we go. So, this will be a good drink for you to just, chug down. So, try to drink it while it's still hot, because if you try to drink it while it's not hot, then it won't carry as many benefits as it would if it was hot, because the steam will also help your body kind of heat up as well, and it'll also open up your airways so that way you can actually breathe and get through the mucus and whatnot, if that is the stage that you're at, and also just help, alleviate any sort of inflammation that's going on within your cavities, basically. So just try to drink it while it's hot. Even though it's really, really hot, try to drink it in small sips, that way it doesn't burn your tongue, because obviously you don't want to burn tongue on top of having a cold. So try to drink it in small sips until it's just the right amount of heat, or at the right temperature, for it to be drunk without it basically scalding the muscle of your tongue, but also for it to be hot enough for you to actually feel that it is in fact still hot, but just not so hot that it, basically burns the inside of your system. But now we're going to be getting the honey once again, and with the honey I'm going to be putting some in a tea. Just a spoonful of honey helps the medicine go down. So I'm going to be getting a spoonful of honey, which services the same purpose as medicine. It's gonna spill. Medicine. I would suggest you take a spoonful of honey rather than actual proper medicine like Tylenol or NyQuil, because NyQuil and Tylenol don't really help attack the germs or viruses within a cold. They just help you go to sleep to kind of, yeah, they just help you to go to sleep. It doesn't even help your symptoms. It just knocks you out basically, but it does nothing for you to recuperate faster from a cold. Instead, I would suggest taking a bit of honey and putting a little bit of salt as so onto the honey, because the salt it'll dry up the mucus on the back of your throat and also remove the fluids accumulating in the back of your throat. And though it is not suggestible to eat too much salt, because that does end up drying the fluids within your body, and considering how you are made out of water, that isn't a good idea. But at the same time, it does do a great job in kind of sucking and drying away the mucus at the back of your throat. So just consider putting in a little bit of salt when you're getting sick, so that way you can, get better. So just open up, please. Open wide. It tastes also a lot better than NyQuil or Tylenol, so there's no need to worry about that. Like, NyQuil and Tylenol taste disgusting. Like, just disgusting. People say that they like that taste, and I think that they need to go to a mental institution, because, like, who thinks that taste is good? Except for psychotic people. So anyways, open up your mouth so that way you can just, there we go. Okay. And then swallow, and then, there we go. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. And now, let me just stir your tea a little more. Once again, I just want to make sure that everything has dissolved properly, so that way you get a good dose of the medicine you need, natural remedy. I'd rather call it a remedy than medicine, because medicine carries a connotation that it was, created by doctors the way medicine should be, but just when it comes to common cold, it's best to just rely on natural supplements rather than medicine. Because once again, like NyQuil, Tylenol, all of these things, except for the saline solution, like a saline nasal spray, but it is quite costly to get one. But if you can afford one, a saline nasal spray, I think it runs on the market for like $100+, hence why I'm saying it's quite expensive, but it definitely takes away the effects of a cold. Like, it just opens up your nasal passages, and it makes it feel like the cold is no longer there. Like, that's something I would definitely recommend. But these are affordable ways to kind of get rid of a cold, in either to make your cold shorten the lifespan the germs have, I guess, and also for it to not have such strong symptoms, like, a terribly tight sore throat that burns whenever you just, utter a consonant, or, for example, a runny nose that inflames your nose and makes it bigger and all red and stuff like that, and just, like, dripping all over the place, and your eyes are watering. So it's like, this is something to kind of combat those terrible, terrible symptoms. So here's your tea bag. Remember to take sips. Take small sips of it and drink it while it's still as hot as possible, because that's when it has the benefits that you need. Now, the next thing I'm going to be recommending you to ingest is as much vitamin C as possible. So right here I have a tangerine. I don't have an orange yet with me, but here's a tangerine. I'm going to just unpeel this for you. Tangerines have vitamin C, of course, as do all citric fruits. There we go. And the vitamin C will help you combat this illness. So I'm just gonna start piecing these apart. So here's one tangerine. Eat it. Good job. And then here's 2 tangerines. Mouth wide, and there we go. And then here's 3 tangerines. Good job. And then I'll wait to give you the last one. I'll wait until you chewed the rest of your food. But while you do that, I have to advise you that when it comes to getting the common cold, it could be caught either because of severe temperature changes. For example, most people start getting sick once the winter winter days start, hitting their town. Because of that, whole climate change, especially since fall isn't as long as the other seasons, and it often happens dramatically. Since summer, everyone was used to wearing a certain type of clothing, and usually what happens is that those people are often, resistant to the change since they so want summer to continue, but unfortunately summer can't continue, and their effort to wear summer clothing during a colder season is just futile, and they end up getting sick because of their own just resistance against the season changing. So that is one way that you could get sick, is just from that temperature change. Or for example, you go out with your hair wet, especially if you go to school early in the morning, or to work, no school, but again to work as well, and you're standing outside waiting for the bus. If your hair is wet since you just took a shower in the morning, it's difficult to say not to go out, because obviously you need to go out, but it would be to your benefit if you consider taking a shower the night before, so that way you don't run the risk of having cold hair, or rather wet hair, when you're standing outside in the cold, having it all freeze up and whatnot, because your hair will turn to ice if it's watered down and in the freezing cold. So that's one way that you get the common cold, is just that temperature change. So always try to dress up, bundle up. During the colder days, it's always best to overcompensate with the clothing than to underrate how cold it is going to be outside. Because you can always take off a sweater if it's just a little too warm, but you can't add on a sweater that you don't have. Plus, it's always best to just sweat it out rather than to freeze. But that's one way you get the cold. Another way you get the cold is if you work with children or around a very populated area. For example, if you live in the city, or if you work in an office space, or if you take care of children, or if you have children, or younger siblings perhaps. It is always advisable to wash your hands at all times whenever you get the chance, especially if you're going to be eating anything or touching your face. Just remember, try to program in your head that, here, open up. There we go. And then one more. Actually, there's still plenty of tangerine left, so it's okay. There you go. And then one more piece, 3 at a time. That way you're not, eating too much at once. And remember to chew it thoroughly, so that way you don't end up having digestive problems. But as I was saying, so end up trying to program it into your mind, into thinking, I'm going to be touching my face right now. When have I washed my hands? What have I touched so far? Has anything felt dirty? And to kind of build up this sort of paranoia inside of your head, I guess, for lack of better words, that whatever you touch that is germy, like for example a doorknob, the sliding, or rather the siding, but the hand grabbing thing that is built onto the side of stairs to help you go up the stairway, I guess. I don't know, it's not the stairway. Anything like that, keyboards that are shared, or even just keyboards in general, because keyboards can have a lot of germs from the past times that you used it, and also they accumulate dust, and dust is made out of a bunch of, not clean things. I mean, there's speculation that it's made out of dead skin cells, and yeah, it's not the best. So just always try to psych yourself out when it comes to touching, especially your face and your eyes. When it comes to these two things, if you're dealing with children especially, and they end up coughing or something like that, make them wash their hands, and then you wash your hands, so that way there's no germs that are going to be spread around. If someone coughs around you, try to evacuate the place, I guess. But I mean, not coughs as in a normal cough as in they have something in their throat, but coughs as in they're sick and they're spreading around germs, because the first couple of days of someone else being sick is the most contagious. So if they're in the first couple of days being sick, and you're around them for too long, or if you touch something that they touch and then touch your face to ingest their germs, you'll end up getting sick too, because they're contagious those first couple of days. Anyways, open up please. There we go. And then once again, there we go. And then one more time. There's just one left, one tangerine left. There we go. Delish. And now, for the last step, don't forget to continue sipping up your tea. Your tea is still perfect temperature now, so it shouldn't burn you when you try drinking it. But for the last step, we have some vitamins here, some vitamin C's. That way it can help support the immune system. As it says right there, it is USP verified dietary supplement. It is a #1 pharmacist recommended right there, but I mean, like, they always say it's #1 pharmacist or #1 dermatologist guaranteed. It's like, who are they talking to? Who are these doctors that they reference? But it's still something that I would consider taking despite that fact, because vitamin C once again does help with the cold. It is, let's see. It is made with cellulose gel, hydroxypropyl, I mispronounced that, methyl cellulose, cross-carbamylose sodium, stearic acid, magnesium stearate, silicon dioxide, polyethylene glycol. Yeah. It says take 1 tablet daily within a meal. Keep bottle tightly closed. Store in cool, dry place out of reach of children. Now, I'm a bit methodical when it comes to my treating of my own illnesses, so whenever I take these pills, whenever I do this entire process, I usually do it every 5 hours, but I mean, that's only because I usually do it without a meal. If I'm going to be basing myself off of meals, then obviously I would recommend eating a big breakfast, because you do need, all of that energy to help you kind of maintain a good level of body. Something that's hot, obviously a hot meal, for example, eggs with cheese on top of it, fried, what else, or an omelet, soup, chicken noodle soup, if you're vegetarian, just noodle soup, or egg and noodle soup, but I mean, that's not a vegan option. So if you're vegan, noodle soup. If you're vegetarian, noodle egg soup. If you're, neither, then chicken noodle soup will work just fine. And then just continue supplementing yourself with these vitamins, so that way you can start combating, or help your white body cells and your system just combat all of the germs that are going on and whatnot. But anyways, I'm just gonna pop this open, and then there we go. Now open up your mouth. There we go. And just put that in your mouth, and then I'm just gonna get your tea, and I'm going to, ready? Okay, this sometimes takes me a couple of times to swallow because it is a bit large, so, but here, just take a sip, and then swallow. You didn't swallow it? Okay, take another sip then. Take another sip, and then swallow. Good, that time it worked. Okay, so, in that case, you are all set. The entire process that I go through has been completed, and so right now, just try to bundle up as tightly as you can. Go find some more blankets, that way you can just keep rolling yourself up, so that way you just start sweating out the entire virus, and that way you can really start skipping steps when it comes to the whole process. Get as much bed rest as possible. Don't do anything physically exhausting, or something that requires a lot of energy, because right now your body just needs to rest in order to combat the germs that are fighting the virus that's fighting your system. So yeah, try to relax, do whatever, binge on Netflix. That's probably the best thing to do when you're sick, is just to binge on Netflix and just lay back, relax, and just take your time to fight these virus, basically. So yeah, hopefully you feel better, and I hope you don't have that long of a cold, so that way you can go back doing whatever you want to do.